Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something really cool, a mental model that can help you solve pretty much any problem, from your own personal finances all the way up to, global peace. Yeah, seriously. It's called the coordination loop. Let's dive in. So, let's start with a question we've all asked ourselves. Why do so many projects, diets, and, heck, even peace treaties just fail? You know the feeling, right? You start with all this energy, but then things just fall apart. What's really going on there?
Well, here's the thing. We usually blame ourselves, right? We think, oh, I just didn't have enough willpower. But what if that's not the whole story? Turns out, it's often a failure of coordination. We just fail to get all the pieces lined up. Sometimes that's with the team, and sometimes, believe it or not, it's with our own future self.
Okay, so that's the problem. But here's the good news. There's a way to fix this. There's this, it's like a universal template for getting things right. A simple 4-step framework that's designed to beat these coordination failures, and it's called the coordination loop.
And here are the 4 steps, super simple. First up, you have transparency, which is basically your map. Then you've got protocol. Those are the rules of the game. Third, verification. You got to know the truth. And finally, feedback and incentive. This is where you learn and pivot. That's it, the whole loop.
All right, let's dig into that first step, transparency. This is so crucial. It's all about creating a clear, shared map of what's actually happening. I mean, you can't fix a problem if you can't even see it, right? So on a personal level, this could be you finally getting honest and tracking every single expense to see where your money is really going. But on a global scale, it's like nations sharing critical intelligence so everyone understands the true geopolitical landscape.
Okay, so you've got the map. Now you need the rules. That's step 2, protocol. This is where you define the rules of engagement. You decide what a win actually looks like. For your budget, that's pretty simple. It's a spending limit. For nations, it's much more complex, like a formal treaty. But here's the key part, and this is non-negotiable. Everyone has to agree on the goal.
So having rules is great and all, but how do you know people are actually following them? That's where verification comes in. You need some kind of mechanism to confirm everyone's playing by the rules. It's that classic idea, trust but verify. For you, this could be as simple as checking your bank statement to make sure you're sticking to that budget. For something bigger, it's like UN inspectors on the ground, verifying that a country is complying with an agreement.
And finally, to close the loop, you need that last piece, feedback and incentives. This is the engine that keeps the whole thing running. It's a system of consequences and rewards that encourages everyone to stay on track. You stick to your budget, you get to save up for that awesome vacation. A country complies with a treaty, they get trade benefits. If you fail, well then you face the consequences, maybe sanctions or just no vacation.
Now, I know this might sound a little theoretical, but here's the cool part. This isn't just a theory. You are already using this loop probably every single day and you don't even realize it. It's actually the hidden engine running inside some of the most popular apps you use.
Okay, let's look at Trello, the project management tool. It is a perfect example. For transparency, you've got those visual boards where everyone can see every task and all the progress. The protocol? Teams set deadlines and guidelines for how to get work done. Verification? So simple. Users just check off tasks when they're finished. And the feedback? The team celebrates milestones, which keeps everyone motivated. See? It's the entire coordination loop right there in an app.
Or how about a personal finance app, like Mint? Same thing. It gives you total transparency into your spending habits. Then you set the protocol by creating budgets and spending limits. The app automatically verifies your purchases by syncing with your bank. And for feedback, you get those nice visual progress bars and maybe even little rewards for hitting your savings goals. Are you starting to see the pattern here? It's everywhere.
And it totally works for health and wellness too. Think about a Fitbit. It makes your activity transparent. Steps, sleep, all of it. You set the protocol with your daily fitness goals. The app is constantly verifying your progress against those targets in the background. And the feedback loop? Those little badges and achievements you get for being consistent, it's just a beautifully simple and, honestly, really effective coordination loop.
Okay, so we've established the 4 steps are pretty much constant, but, and this is a really critical insight, the tools you use for each step have to change depending on the scale of the problem. And it all boils down to one single word, trust.
And this is where the tools get really different. At a personal level, when you're just coordinating with yourself, the main tool is, it's self-discipline. You have to trust yourself to follow through. But what happens when you scale up to a global level? You've got millions of people who don't know or trust each other. You can't rely on self-discipline then. You need what are called trustless systems. Things like formal protocols or even blockchain, where the trust is literally baked into the code itself.
So you can see how this mechanism of trust evolves. For you, on your own, it's all about self-discipline. In a small group, like with your friends or a small team, it's about reputation and social pressure. You don't want to be the one who lets everybody down. But for massive, global-scale coordination, you need something way more robust. That's where things like open-source protocols and blockchain come in, where trust is based on pure math, not on personal relationship.
So if this framework works for apps and for teams, what's the limit? How big can we go? Let's try and scale this idea all the way up. I mean, could we use these same principles to tackle humanity's biggest collective challenges? Could we actually coordinate our entire civilization better?
Well, before you say that's crazy, let's look at one of the most successful examples of large-scale global coordination that has ever existed: open source software. Just think about it. You have thousands of strangers from all over the planet collaborating to build some of the most complex software in the world. How on earth do they pull that off? You guessed it. They use the coordination, and it maps perfectly. The code is public on sites like GitHub. That's total transparency. There are really clear contribution guidelines and version control. That's the protocol. Code gets reviewed by other experts and run through automated tests. That's verification. And the feedback? Contributors get recognition from the community, build a reputation, and sometimes even get sponsorships. It is a perfect, real-world case study of this loop in action.
This leads us to a really ambitious, kind of mind-blowing idea. If this model works so well for building software, could it work for rebuilding society? What if we took this loop and applied it to our biggest problems, like climate change or economic inequality? What would a civilization operating system built on these principles even look like?
Now that might sound a little radical, but the core idea behind it is so powerful. Most conflicts, whether they're personal struggles inside your own head or massive global disputes, they're not really failures of intent or willpower. They are, at their heart, failures of coordination.
So let's bring this all the way back home, to you. Think about the biggest problem you're facing right now. What would happen if you tried to solve it with this framework? What kind of coordination loop? With total transparency, clear rules, a way to verify progress, and a system for feedback, could you build to finally solve it?